We're live.
So before we went live, you made the sign of the cross and did that little kissy thing on the thumb. Is that a new thing you've implemented? Is this something you've done forever?
So this is really funny. I didn't do it at all, but then my dad took me a couple years after I converted. My dad took me to see For Greater Glory, and they did it there, and I thought they were the coolest Catholics ever to live. Quite possibly are. And they all did it. Every one of them in the movie did it. And so I think it's a Hispanic thing, but I've done it since I saw that movie, and now it's just a habit.
So here's my thoughts on kissing your fingers. I'm all right if you do it. I'm not okay when people make the lip smacking sound. So I have a lot of issues with people. Like when they chew ice.
Somebody please in the live chat, just clip that for me. I have a lot of issues with people. I have a lot of issues.
I watched the interview between Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And at one point, Elon Musk picks up the glass, drinks it, and chews on his ice. And I thought, another good reason to quit Twitter. That is unacceptable behavior, chewing ice in front of another human being. But the other thing is, making that sound. Like I got a friend, and I'm not going to say his name, and I'm not going to give away the details, but we went to Holy Mass together, and he made the sign of the cross, and he went, and I'm like, okay, I can't sit by this guy.
Do I make this sound?
You made a bit of a sound. There's a bit. It's okay.
I think it's just the sound that, like, I'm not making a sound though.
I guess because you have to kiss, right? You have to do something with your lips. You can't just press the thumb against the...
Yeah, that's weird, right? So there's a little sound that is mandatory with the kissing. So
good.
Anyway.
Now that we've got that out of the way. So welcome everybody to Pints with Aquinas solo stream. Let us know...
I just realized something.
Can I finish my sentence?
Yeah.
Or are you going to keep interrupting me?
Good.
Let me know in the comment section below what you think of these solo streams. And we will, for the first hour, respond to all the comments that come through. So you feel special and our algorithm does better. Go.
So I probably should have rated this video differently than I did because I just went through and the ad rating was like, yep, we're good.
We're fine. There's nothing controversial in this.
We are both planning to drink on this stream.
Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the Bud-Light fiasco, and we are going to be talking about Yuengling. In fact, 12 things we need to know about Yuengling. So even though Thursday is much more in the know about Yuengling than I am, we're going to learn 12 quick facts about Yuengling because this is going to be our new favorite beer, obviously. We're going to talk about what Catholic Lo-Fi is doing. It's crushing it. Obviously, I want to talk about what's going on with Mr. Beast. And then we're going to take some questions from our local supporters. And then I want to look at an article from the Summa Theologiae where Thomas Aquinas talks about memory and 4 ways to better memorize things. It's super cool.
Yeah.
But before we do that,
we have a can we do this now?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Do what?
The let's so recently, I think you mentioned this briefly, but our short that we published from
We better do a humble brag.
Well,
it's like it's nice to celebrate your victories. That's my American accent. I'm American, everybody, by the way. Officially. I don't know if I did announce that.
I need another, by the way. Can you?
That's my only party trick.
They're twist-offs, dude.
Are they really? Are they really?
Oh my gosh.
They are too. But it's still cool that I did it with my ring.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll come over and get it in a
you should
second.
come to me. I don't know if I should.
Yeah.
Yuengling, America's oldest brewery.
You are moving so much. You're so out of focus.
All right, you better fix that.
So
I'll put it
you're
here
good
for
there.
you.
You're good there. So our short that I clipped and made on Calvin's line in his speech, Reverend Calvin Robinson's line in his speech, that you either have to accept all of the church's teaching or none of it, because either Christ is Lord or he isn't.
Yeah.
That recently on all platforms, that's the wrong overlay.
Made people very angry, we should point out too to people.
It did. They were not happy about that. Recently across all our platforms, this is number 4, Matt, crossed 500,000 views total. So we have
amazing.
80 on YouTube, 66 on
TikToks
on TikTok, and then 355,000 views on Instagram Reels.
Wow, it's amazing.
Praise the Lord for that.
And when's he coming in again? Do you know? We've booked his flight. He's coming in next couple of months.
Hold on, I've got it right here.
So that should be fun. Yeah, things have been really good. This has been fun. YouTube's been doing well lately, and we want to say big thanks to everybody who comments and likes and subscribes because that's helping the channel grow.
YouTube's been doing really well. It's kind of an understatement, let's be honest.
It's been... Well, thank you. Yeah. All right. So that did well. All right. So, Bud Light. What do you guys think about the whole Bud-Light debacle? Let us know in the comments below. Do you want to just sort of set this up? Do we want to talk about what happened? Okay. So Bud Light teamed up with a fella who dresses up like a woman named Dylan Mulvaney and put his face on their beer can, and in so doing, either tried to celebrate mental illness, rumble.com, or gave a platform to somebody who makes fun of women. Neither of those things are good, and it came back to bite them ferociously, which is really good to hear. Actually, as soon as this thing happened with Bud Light, I was sure that Daily Wire was going to start their own beer company. But then I thought, how would you send beer across state lines? It's kind of difficult.
Shipping beer is hard. Also, there are significantly more regulations involved with making alcohol than there are with making sharp pieces of metal or chocolate.
Or taking those sharp pieces of metal and using them to do things to people. All right, so that's what happened. So we had Budweiser up here, but no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was talking about like mastectomies and things like this.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. But that was funny to you.
I was just shocked by it. And so like you got like my face of like, what just happened was,
yeah.
Everybody have fun with that screenshot.
But I don't know. What's your opinion on boycotts in general?
Boycotts in general?
You know how people say like there's no point doing them, or like, oh, look how triggered you are boycotting a beer company.
I mean, boycotts have their purpose.
Telling somebody that they're triggered is perhaps the best way you can trigger somebody. It's like when you say, don't overreact, you psycho. And then, like, what are you going to do except, like, react to what they just said, thereby
like
apparently
asking
proving
somebody,
their point.
when did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah.
Like, an answer to the question is an admission of guilt of some kind.
Yeah.
I don't know. Boycotts seem to work if they have enough. If the people boycotting are like gung ho enough about it, but if you're not super gung ho about the boycott and you're not willing to like
actually
hold on to it for a long period of time, then all you're doing is advertising. And you also have to have a large enough portion of the population willing to participate and participate seriously.
Well, what's cool about this boycott is I don't think it was any one factor that mobilized people into a cohesive group to thereby,
Yeah,
I think it was just people like, this is really disturbing that you would celebrate somebody who makes fun of women.
The problem with like boycotting Disney, for example, right, is you can't just boycott Disney. You have to boycott Hulu, which means you have to boycott 20th Century Fox, which means you can't watch any of the Fox television shows. Like, we are getting to a point where boycotting certain organizations is literally impossible because of the monopolizing of certain industries, if that makes sense. Like if you wanted to boycott Procter & Gamble, you might starve.
Yeah.
Or like never be able to clean your house again. They own like 10 companies. This is a real infographic. I should have prepped this. If I knew we were talking about this, I would have prepped it. You can look up this infographic, but 10 companies in America own over 90% of the food and cleaning supplies sold in the grocery store.
Wow. Yeah, I see your point.
And so boycotting a beer company is going to be effective because they don't have a huge market share in other things. They're not diversified, right?
We'll get to this later, but like in Australia, it's a lot more off-putting, or Ireland or Europe, to buy a packet of cigarettes because they have pictures of lungs and black teeth and things like that. Did something terrible happen?
Not terrible.
Did it go off?
No.
And so it's much less appealing to buy those things. And I would imagine that having that fellow's face on the can was also just a great natural way to turn people off of that can. All right, I want to read through this Daily Wire article. Can we do that? Dun, 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 dun.
All right, daily article.
Let's look at this. American beer company subtly shades Bud Light with well-timed viral tweet, "We make good beer." I don't know, it felt so subtle as to be not at all a shade, but let's have a look at it. Anheuser-Busch competitor Yuengling sent out Thank you. That one. Anheuser-Busch competitor Yuengling sent out a well-timed tweet at the Bud Light drama as it drags on. About 1 hour after the Anheuser-Busch CEO posted a lengthy statement. I don't know if you read that or not, but it was so vacuous. There was nothing at all in it.
Yeah, I read it.
After he posted a lengthy statement on Twitter that attempted to quell the tension, and the one thing he didn't do was apologize. He didn't draw a line in the sand one way or the other. I think there's probably a lot of people who would be like, at least pick a side. Like, at least say you're for child mutilation or you're not, but don't try to straddle the line.
It's not the picking of the side. It's the fact that the line he straddled is actually ineffective because he said enough to piss off the trans activists, and he didn't say enough to make the blue collar conservatives happy. So what he actually did is just
shot both feet.
Shot himself in both feet simultaneously.
No, that's what I'm saying. If he had have picked a side, I think you'd have one group happy and the others who could be like, okay, well, you're degenerate, but at least you chose a side.
Exactly, because they leaked that story.
Allegedly,
they leaked that story to the media that upper management had no idea this was going to happen, right?
Right.
And so obviously, if you want to say you leaked that story, then the next logical thing to do there would just be look, we fired everybody. We are so sorry. This won't happen again. We're not okay with this.
Yeah.
We're taking all the losses. We understand why people, if that's what you're going to do, apologize. Or you need to, because then
double down.
Or double down because you need to get one side to, because you're going to lose one side either way in this strategically. You're going to lose one side of the aisle. And so if you don't get them to be enthusiastic enough to buy twice as much of your product, then you are going to lose
everybody. It reminds me, there was a lady at Franciscan who at Mass, she would play the organ, but it was two praise and worship songs. So she just pissed everybody off because the trannies were upset and the praise and worship people were upset. It's yeah, nice try, but no. All right, let's see. He left this about 1 hour after Anheuser-Busch CEO posted a lengthy statement to Twitter that attempted to quell the tensions in the wake of the PR crisis. The small Pennsylvania-based beer brewery Yuengling sent a tweet of its own. Yuengling, the oldest brewery in America, independently owned and family operated since 1829 because we make good beer. That's not a shade.
Did we both just...
We burped at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
Let's make a separate ASMR track where just you and I belch. And we'll put that
just
on
drink a lot and burp into the microphone.
Catholic Lo-Fi.
Catholic Lo-Fi.
Yeah, I wish they had the what do you say? The spine to do something a little more aggressive than this. What could they do? Maybe put the manliest man.
What could they do?
Yeah, if they were because this is why if Daily Wire did start a beer company, they would have really...
Who would you put on the can if you wanted to cut back at Dylan Mulvaney?
Matt Walsh.
No, they have to be popular enough to be recognizable.
Fine, Father Mike Schmitz. No,
I think you're going in the wrong direction. No offense to either of those guys, but you're definitely going in the wrong direction as far as recognizability goes.
No, I don't know, but anyway, to me that doesn't sound like much of a. But, I mean, that's how it was taken. Let's see what people say. The company wrote Friday alongside, go up a bit. Up. Oh. Alongside a photo of its traditional lager staged in front of an American flag. The tweet, which has close to 5 million views Tuesday morning, had a lot of support from fans. Are you able to close those adverts that seem rather scandalous?
Oh.
The tweet, which had close to 5 million views Tuesday morning, had a lot of support from fans. Here's a few people. They said, just found a new beer. And then someone else said, good timing, another person said. Keep going. It just so happens I'm looking for a new favorite beer. Okay, this person pissed both people off as well because he just outed himself as a Bud Light drinker.
Can I say something? If Bud Light was your favorite beer, you don't like beer.
Yuengling's tweet was shared just after Anheuser-Busch CEO Brendan Whitworth released a statement that didn't apologize but did acknowledge the company never intended to divide people. You are a dirty, dirty liar. As the CEO of a company founded America's heartland more than 165 years ago, I am responsible for ensuring every consumer feels proud of the beer we brew. Well, you failed. We're honored to be part of the fabric of this country. Ugh. Keep going, down. Anheuser-Busch employs more than 18,000 people, and our independent distributors employ an additional 47,000 valued colleagues. He was reacting to a controversy that began on April 1st when trans-identifying influencer Dylan Mulvaney announced a partnership with Budlight. This included several social media promotional posts. The reason I think that this was a terrible idea, and we can take that screen down, is that I don't know much about people who drink beer and stuff, but it would seem to me that the people who are drinking Bud Light are either women, like CrossFit women who still like their beer, or dudes at frat party events or something, or just who wants something nice that's not going to give them a buzz because they're out playing golf or something like that.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that Sheilas who are liking Bud Light are going to be okay with a dude making fun of women. And I can't imagine dudes doing that either. So my understanding is they did lose a lot of cash from that. And so it would be cool if Yuengling stood up and took their place. I do have some thoughts on beer. Namely, I think people like Yuengling because they feel like they're trads. It's like the same thing that makes a trad like myself or you like feel proud.
I love you so much.
It's like we feel like we're in the minority. And I think that's the same thing with Yuengling. I don't know. I don't trust people when they say they don't like microbreweries. I think they're just saying that to be cool.
Oh, I mean, most microbreweries make very few good beers.
Is that right?
So here's the thing, and you know this about me because we could tell this story. This is a really funny story at the beginning of my work relationship with you.
Yeah.
After the George Farmer interview. Yeah,
you came in, Neil was filming it, and Neil was kind of training you to kind of take over from him. Yeah. I went and bought you a 6-pack of beer.
Well, so no, you asked what my favorite drink was.
Oh, yeah.
You remember what I said?
No.
Like, I don't know, I pretty much just drink milk and water. And you were like, no, I'm talking about alcohol.
Uh-huh.
And you said, what's your favorite alcohol? And I said, oh, Yuengling.
Ah, yeah. I do remember you saying that.
And then you said, I'm going to need you to be more creative than that.
I think the reason is because I called you from a super...
You were at the local, like, really nice...
Yeah, like the fancy schmancy...
And you were in front of the microbrewery section, I guess.
Stuff, yeah.
And you said, what's your favorite beer? And I was like, Yuengling. And you said, I'm going to need you to be more specific than
What did I get you that you were like...
This was... Oh,
what was the most ridiculous one? It was like was it a Reese's peanut butter beer?
There was some weird stuff in that pack, dude. There was one that was like hazelnut coffee.
Yeah. See, this is the stuff I drink.
But you bought me one that was a can.
That's right. And
it was a white can with black text, and all it said on it was beer. Beer that tastes like beer.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like... And I cracked it immediately. It was amazing.
So do you not like IPAs?
I don't really like IPAs. I like just a good plain lager, you know? Hey, to get the shot here. To real women, right?
Yeah. And absolutely. I like stout. I've said this a bunch to people's dismay because I have a show called Pints with Aquinas. Not a big beer drinker. When I drink beer like today, I usually feel kind of sluggish and gross, and I'm going to feel like that, but I thought it was worth taking a bullet for the team. Bullet for the team? Shot for the team? And, but I do like, if I'm going to drink a beer, and someone said you can drink a beer tonight, you have to drink a beer, what do you want? It would be like a Russian Imperial Stout. Something that when you pour it looks like motor oil. I love that stuff. So that's where I'm at. All right, let's do these 12 things you should know about Yuengling in case people are looking to switch.
Will you talk for a second? I'm going to check the ads.
We don't get Oh, yeah.
What the?
Yeah. That's disgusting.
How do I get rid of that?
I don't know. But
there's no X button.
It's still not as off-putting as Dylan Mulvaney dressed as a woman.
So true.
All right. Can we get the... Yeah, we should be all right. All right. 12 things you should know about Yuengling. Scroll down.
Yep, I'm doing it. I was switching the scene.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Yuengling is more than a lager. Many beer drinkers know Yuengling for its amber lager. That's what we're drinking today. But that beer didn't become its flagship until 1987. The brewery's first beer were its Lord Chesterfield Ale and Porter brands, released more than 150 years earlier. Both are still produced today, along with Yuengling Traditional Lager, Yuengling Light Lager, Yuengling Light Beer. We're unclear on what the difference is there. Yuengling Premium and Yuengling Black and Tan, all right? It's as old as the typewriter. Yuengling founder David Gottlob Yuengling emigrated from Württemberg, Germany.
I think you nailed that, honestly.
To Pottsville, Pennsylvania in 1823 and opened a brewery on Center Street in 1829. We should go there.
Oh, hold on. I can get rid of the ads.
We should. Oh no! What have you? Oh, you did it! Well done. I thought that was something totally different. We should do a Pints with Aquinas retreat at Yuengling, since it's not far from us.
Dude, that would be so fun. It is in Pennsylvania. We should do an event.
They might be like, dude, we're not cool with Budlight, but that doesn't mean we're cool with Catholics. I'm not sure. It was the same year William Austin Burt patented America's first typographer or typewriter. You're killing me, Smalls.
I'm trying.
2 years later, the Center Street Brewery burned down. Oh, it resurrected in its current location in that place. Cool. It wasn't always Yuengling.
1831.
That's nuts.
That's how long it's been open currently.
Yeah. David Yuengling's original surname was Yuengling, meaning youth or young man in German. I don't know how you say that. Someone tell me in the comments.
Yuengling? I think it's Yuengling.
Changed his name to Yuengling when he first arrived in the US. You got to have balls to create a company called Yuengling. It's not an easy thing to say. Takes people a while. So the brewery was originally named. I don't think you could tell the difference between this and a Budweiser.
I could do it.
I don't think so.
These are sweeter. Everybody in the comments tell Matt that I could tell the difference.
Because it's an amber lager? Is that kind of why you could tell? Is
it's sweeter. Yuengling's slightly sweeter.
All right. Yuengling had another son. All right. Yuengling had another son named David. Around the time Frederick joined their father and partner of their business, David Jr. left to start his own brewery. All right, good. Yuengling and Sons' next heirs are daughters. Cool, cool. It's the biggest small brewery in the nation. I'm going to read that. What is that? Okay. Yuengling is the largest independently owned brewing company in the US, a title it has held since 2015. It was also ranked the 6th largest brewing company overall by sales volume. It's historical. In 1986, 155 years after its inception, Yuengling's Pottsville Brewery was entitled on the National Register of Historic Places.
I want to go. Even if we don't do a conference, you and I should go sometime. It'd be fun.
That would be fun.
We should take Jacob.
Okay. Yuengling survived the dark times, really, of prohibition by getting creative. After the 18th Amendment was ratified in 1919, Yuengling switched to producing near beer, or 0.5% brews. Its products included Yuengling Special, Portor, and Juvo. Sorry. Oh, it's my bride.
Hey, speaking of toasting to women.
To Cameron Fradd. What a woman.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh-oh. What happened?
I put it down too hard.
Yuengling has... Oh, now this is interesting. Didn't they promote Trump? Or didn't... Let's see. In 2016... Dick Yuengling endorsed Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Chaos ensued. In 2018, Yuengling hosted Eric Trump on a media-accompanied tour of the brewery. On the tour, he allegedly said to Eric Trump, "Our guys are behind your father. We need him in there." Yikes!
Okay, well, this website's dumb.
It has been boycotted multiple times. This is actually really cool. After word got out about Yuengling's support of the Trump campaign, many Yuengling drinkers boycotted the brand, which they're free to do, good on them, including Pennsylvania State Representative Brian Sims. Sims called out Trump's anti-woman, anti-immigrant, anti-LGBT, anti-racial minority, and anti-equality agenda in a Facebook post saying, "I'm not normally one to call for boycotts, but I absolutely believe that how we spend our dollars is a reflection of our votes and our values." It always annoys me when people say something that nobody disagrees with, but in a tone that is supposed to let you think that they're a provocateur and something of a nonconformist. Like, I just think you should put your money where your mouth is.
I was listening to a story the other day.
Yes, that's where I got it from. Yeah, he's a good author, that guy. Or if he's not a good author, he's still a beautiful person. Shame on you. Goodbye, Yuengling, and shame on you. Sincerely, a former customer of 17 years. Okay, this is the kind of response people need to start making to this virtue signaling. They said, "We survived prohibition. We survived 2 world wars when you couldn't get any grain. We'll be fine."
That's kind of savage.
That's very good. That's the kind of savagery I think that we're going to need today to combat this. I'm
a big fan of that, actually.
Yeah. It has a house in Florida. Good. All right. it's still innovating, sort of. In 2018, Yuengling introduced Golden Pilsner. It's the first year-round offering in 17 years. Yes, it's another lager. Sticking to its guns seems to work for Yuengling. All right. Well, there you go. I have to say, after we have reviewed this article, and it was actually Seamus Coughlin. I spoke to him recently. He's like, you have to start drinking Yuengling now. And this is before the Bud-Light controversy. By the way, Seamus Coughlin is the dude who runs Freedom Tunes.
We're going to get to him in a second.
Yeah, he's going to be on the show soon, too.
Hold on, I've got the schedule right here.
And he said, you have to start drinking Yuengling now. I went, he went, no, I'm serious. You are going to have to start drinking Yuengling now. And I said, oh, all right, I guess I'll.
9 days.
Cool. So we'll have Seamus on in 9 days, so we can talk about then. All right, what else you got for me? Thursday.
Well, so I wanted to talk about some of the funny and cool reactions to the Bud Light thing, because some of them have been really,
I haven't seen
really
these.
amusing. So I want to show you so this is Brantley Gilbert. I'm unsure what kind of music he makes. So if he says bad things,
sorry.
We apologize. But
Let's do
this
it.
video
I haven't seen
is
it.
hilarious.
All right, go. It's cutting in and out a ton on my end.
Oh, hold on.
But that's okay.
It's good. There. That's it. That's the whole thing. Somebody threw him a Bud Light on stage.
That is so funny. That's cutting in and out the sound. I don't know if that's live for people in the live chat. I don't think you did, because when you said you did and you played it, it still wasn't fixed.
I just switched the right scene.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Now, I wonder why someone handed him that.
I have no idea.
That was probably, it was either someone hoping he would do that or someone who just thought he looked hot and neaded a beer. All right, and this is another one. Who's Riley Green?
Riley Green is a country artist.
All right.
And this song is called I Wish Grandpa's Never Died.
Aww.
It's kind of a sad song. And one of the lines is, and the coolers would never run out of Bud Light.
Oh.
And he sang it at a concert recently.
Okay.
It's one of his biggest hits.
All right, I'm excited.
And so
let's go.
This is what was said.
It's so choppy, dude. I can't.
It's not.
It is.
Is it really?
Yes. Are people in the live chat experiencing the choppiness? Just press play and I'll deal with it.
Yeah, breaking up a bit.
Just click play and we'll go through it. Yeah, that's unhearable.
Okay.
Oh, but you can't go away from it that soon. I feel like. So what did he say?
So he says he switches the lyric to, and the coolers would never run out of Coors Light.
Oh.
And then when the chorus comes back around again, he switched it to, and the coolers would never run out of Busch Light.
And what's Busch Light?
It's another light beer. So.
Good.
Matt, get your ears checked. Nope. It's all good here.
Okay.
No choppy. I can hear it fine. No chop here. Doesn't seem choppy on my end.
All right. Well, then I'm willing to. It's not that I have serious hearing problems. It's just that I'm hearing it through a different. I mean, do you think it's even worth showing?
I mean, everybody else seems to hear it fine. We can show Seamus. Have you seen this yet?
I have seen it yesterday. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I got the gist.
Okay. Well, let's not watch the whole thing.
No, let's watch it. It's really funny. Go from the start. Go. Oh, that sounded good to me. All right, this is Seamus again, who's going to be on in 9 days. This is his recent video on Bud Light's brilliant marketing move. Sounds good. No, perfect.
Has drinking responsibly gone too far? Bud Light has landed itself in hot, barely alcoholic water over their decision to include a controversial new sobriety test along every can of beer. Yes, we've put a man wearing makeup on each can. If at any point he begins to look even remotely attractive to you, it means you've had far too much. The sobriety test in question was developed after months of scientific research.
Seamus, please don't copy strike
us. Our study has conclusively shown that the less likely you
vomiting
are to
because
vomit
of
from
beer.
the image hair, the more likely you are to vomit from intoxication.
I love that the lines are pink and blue too. Wait, hold
on.
Can we
Repulsive is
read
good.
these?
He's responsive to image. Repulsive, pretty gross, no strong feelings.
Should I go back?
No, it's okay. Let's keep going.
I'd give her a 6, maybe a 7.
6, maybe a 7.
However, the move seems to have backfired for Anheuser-Busch, with the sobriety test being so effective that sales have plummeted. Look, normally, I ain't know to cut myself off till it's too late, but the moment this doozy don't make me feel sick, I know I gotta stop. Yeah, this has been hugely helpful to me. I'm probably drinking half as much as I used to. But not all are so happy. The Ugly Women's Lobby is reporting an unprecedented dry spell. Here to talk about it, we have the CEO of Anheuser-Busch and a representative from the Ugly Women's Lobby.
You have to stop calling feminists that.
I don't understand what the issue is.
You gotta pause it. I don't get it.
On packs of cigarettes
Hold
to
on.
warn people.
The line is, and somebody here from the Ugly Women's Coalition, and
Yeah.
she says, you have to stop calling feminists that.
Okay, and that's funny because
He's saying that he instead of using the word somebody here from the feminist movement,
okay.
he's saying that the feminist movement is the Ugly Women's Coalition.
All right, good, got it. Thanks.
Why shouldn't cans of beer also warn consumers about what they might end up sleeping
Right,
with?
just like
This is not about social responsibility. This is about limiting the opportunities of ugly women who are disproportionately likely to be transgender.
That is absolutely ridiculous. There are many ugly cisgender women as well.
And you hate them.
Bro, hold on. Matt, sorry, we have to go back just a second. I need you to read the Chiron moving across
Okay.
the bottom.
All right, go.
Seamus.
Criticized, let's see, Mothers Against Drunk Driving campaign.
Women who are
Heavily
disproportionately
criticized
likely to be transgender.
by
That is
rival
absolutely ridiculous.
non-profit
There are many ugly cisgender
fathers for
women as well.
cruising
hate them too, don't
while
you?
wasted.
Seamus, that one might be too far, big guy.
Keep going.
Dare you? I'm married to an ugly woman. Well, it's a big discussion, but it's all we have time for. Next up after the break, the Fat Idiot Brigade says they will continue to protest our network until we stop calling them that.
That's a really
That is
intelligent
one of his
take.
best videos.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody else make that. That sounds as good as like you would expect Babylon B to come up with that. Like that's got to be. It's an anti-drinking campaign.
It's so funny. It's such a good joke.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to talk about Mr. Beast and Chris, and before I do that though, I wanted to mention something about Catholic Lo-Fi, which is crushing it right now.
Can you do that and then go into the AMA so I can?
Yeah, absolutely. So you might not be aware of this or not, but I started a Catholic Lo-Fi channel about a year ago, and I pay an animator to come up with these beautiful little illustrations, and then I work with somebody to create some beautiful lo-fi music just to help people chill out and relax. The idea was to come up with a place where people could kind of relax online and not get even more stressed by talking about ecclesial or national politics. And it's doing really well. And we just released a 12-hour sleep story the other day, which I'm super proud of. I don't know where Thursday went. He literally just left the building. I don't know why. He may have went to the bathroom. He may have went in search of Brett Cooper. Don't know where he went. But anyway, so Catholic Lo-Fi, and we just released, as I say, 10-hour sleep study, a story, not study, or study. Okay, not a study, not a story. Song, 10-hour, oh my gosh, it's definitely the Yuengling. 10 hours of relaxing sleep music with rain sounds and Gregorian chant. We released it 13 days ago, and it's got 198,000 views already. So a massive thank you to you guys who did that. One of the reasons I did this was sometimes I have a difficult time sleeping. I like to put on some sleep music, but I often find that I can't trust the sleep music. My fear is that something aggressive is going to pop up in the middle of it, like a drum beat or something weird that'll wake me up, or that an advert will come on. So we've been demonetized by YouTube, so there's absolutely no chance of adverts coming on. So there's 10 hours of relaxing sleep music. Can you show them what that looks like?
Yeah, this is one.
Where did you go?
I had to
Go to the potty?
Yeah. That's the one.
What if we install a toilet right there?
I have to go a lot.
How disgusted
to
would
be
our
honest.
guests be? They just hear some trickling. What's that?
Hold on.
That's Thursday. Anyway, so go subscribe to Catholic Lo-Fi on YouTube. Dude, I feel like it's too late. Let's move on.
No, it's good. Right here. Here you go. Number one.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Number one. Yeah, there it is. It's beautiful. So you just have a friar snoring for 10 hours straight while rain falls in the background. We're actually creating one right now with Saint Kateri Tekakwitha.
Touch. Yep. Thank you.
And so that'll be releasing soon. So massive thanks. Since YouTube has still demonetized us, we're going to come up with different stickers and hoodies and things like that to sell to kind of keep being able to fund this project. But thanks to everybody who's subscribed over there. All right.
All right. So the next thing is Mr.
Let's talk about Mr. Beast. Now, I didn't know anything about Mr. Beast until about a year ago, I'd say, when my son talked about him. I started watching some videos of his and was just really blown away at the production value. I mean, he is incredible.
So I will say this because I mean, people can know this. I think people would expect this. So I do a lot of research on how YouTube works.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a shocking thing.
No,
to
not
people,
at all.
probably. And a lot. I don't know if you know this, but the reason Mr. Beast is so good at YouTube is because he and his friends spent a year living as like frugally as they could and only working part-time so they could treat researching YouTube for a year and how it functions
I do
as
remember
a full-time job.
He was on Joe Rogan's show and he spoke about this, just spending hours and hours.
Like meta scientific analysis of how like the whole thing functions. And that's, so a lot of times I don't watch his like content specifically, but whenever he's on a podcast talking about YouTube itself,
you listen.
Because when the guy who like cracked the algorithm that like isn't even programmed, there's a really great video on that. I should send you that video sometime. If anybody wants to understand how algorithms are made, CGP Grey has a good video on it. It's really interesting. But algorithms aren't even made by humans anymore. Like YouTube doesn't know how the YouTube algorithm works.
That is remarkable.
Like they don't.
Wow.
But Mr. Beast does.
All right.
Which is insane. And so when he talks about that kind of stuff,
you listen.
You shut your mouth and you listen.
So I've really enjoyed his videos, but I guess what happened recently, and you can speak to this more, is that his co-guy, one of
his crew, I guess,
started dressing gradually, I suppose, like a woman until he announced that he was in fact a woman, or at least transgender. He's got some pretty disturbing things that he's posted online. He posted a picture on Twitter of his son wearing high heels, very young.
Did he really?
Son. And he said, like, my son is slaying it today or something like that. Like, really disturbing things. And, you know, like, it would be difficult to be in Mr. Beast's shoes. Like, can you imagine if, like, you and I started a YouTube channel and you were a lot more visible and we kind of went viral and we got millions and millions. I don't even know how many people follow him right now. You could check that out.
He has 145 million subscribers on his English-speaking channel alone. He's well over 250 if you add up all his dub channels and his...
So I can't imagine something like that happening, and then Chris makes this decision. I think what's so perverted about it is that he makes family-friendly content, wouldn't you say? Like, this is what Mr. Beast does. Most parents are totally okay. If they let their children watch YouTube, they're okay with their children watching Mr. Beast. So I think it was like a...
And for a long time, I think you were fine doing it.
Me?
No,
Yeah.
like a parent, not you. Like,
I mean, some parents are cooler than me, and they wouldn't even let their teens watch YouTube. I'm not there. But I just thought it was a pretty selfish move on the part of this fella, pretending he's a woman, and then what the heck is that going to do to Mr. Beast? Either Mr. Beast says, look, I'm sorry, like, you're my friend and I love you, but like, you can't be working out your delusions here on my video. If for no other reason, then you're going to turn people off. You're going to turn parents off. You're going to turn, and the channel won't do as well. So he could do that, and then he'd be labeled a transphobe. Or he could just embrace him and allow it to happen. And it sounds like that's what he's done. So I'm not pretending this is an easy decision for Mr. Beast. It's got to be a very difficult one. And I can't imagine being as popular as him. So with that said, though, I think he's definitely made the wrong decision. So can you put this tweet up here?
Yeah, can we go with...
this new Sunny 2 video? See that one?
So that's number 2. Yep, it's number 2.
Yeah.
All right.
So this fella tweeted, this new Sunny 2 video feels really invasive for all the wrong reasons. Like, why did you make this? You delved into the man's marriage and stuff. It's just really off-putting and unnecessary. So what is that saying? Okay, is this person's probably calling out Chris and the fact that his personal life seems to be falling apart in many respects. But the main point is that Mr. Beast is responding to it. He says, so he's agreeing with the tweeter, yes, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my effing friend, and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. So, what to say about this? I mean, glad that he's his friend, glad he wants to support him, but I think there's no excuse for allowing somebody who's making fun of women or is living a delusion to have his delusion advertised and promoted among young people. So I said to one of my children the other day, one of my older children, I said, look, I'm not okay with you showing my kids any Mr. Beast videos. I don't think this child ever did that. But as I say, a lot of his videos are terrific. All of them seem to be really great from what I've seen. But I'm not okay with it at all anymore. And this child of mine said, I'm not even watching him anymore because this child was so turned off. What's your take on it? Look at this next tweet, number 3. Maybe put that up as you give me your thoughts. It's never too late to start being yourself.
Well, I found this one specifically. Oh, that's dumb.
And then YouTube comment.
Yeah, I found this one specifically because that's YouTube's account. And it says you're glowing, which is like a comment for women, which is a little...
and then is this Mr. Beast responding to that?
So that's Mr. Beast, common YouTube W, which means like YouTube's taking like W, like win.
Yeah.
Win-loss. The problem with this kind of stuff happening is that the people who are... Well, we talked about this yesterday with somebody, and I won't say who because I don't want to totally derail the conversation, but yesterday you were speaking to somebody, and they said something similar to this, that people who make content often also consume a high amount of it. Mm-hmm. And currently what is being pushed and allowed for by the algorithms on the internet and by these mega corporations is leftist policies. And so it's not unlikely that Chris is like watching a ton of this content, and I'm going to say it, and people are going to get upset, and I'm sure somebody will try to get us in trouble for this. But like, if you watch enough men in their 20s, late 20s to early 30s, pretend they're women and talk about like vague, like they say these things like they're super profound, like I don't fit in with anybody or whatever. It's like, yeah, I don't fit in with all guys most of the time. You know what I mean? Like I don't fit in with.
So you're referring to the social contagion.
But
we released a video of this the other day with Jason Everett for those interested.
The video is excellent, by the way. Sorry to be, it
is excellent.
Humility is self-honesty.
Well,
so that video is excellent.
You did a good job, but Jason's also just brilliant. Jason he knew his great, statistics inside out, even to like decimal points.
Yeah. And we have the citations.
So fair enough that Chris is maybe consuming content and then this is affecting him. Good. I don't want my children watching it. So if you're out there...
don't let your kids watch it.
Don't let your kids watch Mr. Beast anymore. Just cut that out entirely. And you might be a parent thinking, I didn't even know who this guy was. There's this big generational divide between parents and kids and the sorts of people that they follow. But I wouldn't be letting them follow on him. And see, what's difficult, I think, is people are going to mistake us calling out this stuff with Dylan Mulvaney and this Chris fella as us being mean to him. And I think you have to maybe get over that because...
I have his original YouTube
because what's being done here feels like a systematic attack from leftist corporations who should know better. It's not just the individual hurting people. I don't know if the people we've been speaking about today are ill in some capacity or if they're just making fun of women or if they have some weird fetish. None are good. But when you've got these big leftist machines pushing this propaganda on your children, you have to speak out forcefully against it. And none of that is to say that we shouldn't speak with compassion about these people. In fact, what I would like to do now is actually offer a prayer for both Chris and, again, I don't know Dylan Mulvaney. I can't tell if he's just a fraudster or what, but he's worth praying for as well.
Surgery.
Okay. Let's pray for these fellas and anyone like them. And you might... Someone cynically will watch this and say that this is rather condescending, that you're going to pray for these people. But I don't mean it in that way. I think we should pray for hurting people or people who believe false things or people who've been lied to and are now caught up in a lie that they feel like they can't get out of. And we really should be showing them compassion and mercy. And if this topic interests you or if it's you'd like to learn more about it, I'd really recommend you checking out my interview with Jason Everett because that fella, I'd say, knows more about the trans issue and addresses it better than I know anybody else. Quick prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, we lift up all those who are struggling to reconcile their thoughts and desires with the sex of their birth, especially Chris and Dylan. Please intervene and help all of them to know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, that their lives have a purpose exactly as you created them to be. Amen.
And we also want to encourage people to pray for Chris's wife, who he is now separated from, and his son, who he appears to be. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
This is awkward to bring up, right? Because part of the reason we're bringing this up on YouTube is because it's timely and people click on timely things. That is part of the reason we're doing this. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
It's also...
Let's just admit that.
But it's also because if someone's going to publicly come out, call themselves a woman, have their image posted all over your beer cans and influence your child, then we have to speak about it. I mean, what's the alternative? Let people just display their delusion publicly and try to influence your children in that direction, or at least influence them to think that it's a perfectly acceptable life decision, and then everyone shut up about it and not respond to it?
We can't pretend to allow error. We cannot allow error without resistance, especially error of this caliber that is affecting people so young, because error of this nature, this level of egregious nature, affecting people this young, if you don't speak up against it, what you're doing is you're just seeding the next generation to Satan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that sounds really extreme and really dramatic. But everybody, right. I don't care if everybody in the comments thinks that I'm being too dramatic.
It's exactly right.
You are seeding the next generation to Satan himself. If when error this egregious comes up, you don't speak out and say, I am not okay with this, and this is where the line is.
Yeah. And then I think at that point, though, someone's going to respond and say, okay, fair enough, but there are many ways that people are sinning and are encouraging others to sin, and you guys are just harping on this one thing. Two responses to that. One is not everybody needs to respond to every sin. You know, like I got friends who work in the pro-life movement, right? And you could say to them, well, there are other things that are taking place. Like there's sex trafficking issues. Why aren't you dealing with that? And I think one answer is like not everyone can deal with every issue. So just because there are a wide host of issues that deserve to be called out and responded to doesn't mean that certain individuals can't respond to certain of these issues.
And if I can, I just want to offer this. I think that that's a good point. Like not everybody can take everything on, but the issues that the Christian conservatives, the politically active Christians currently are taking the most issue with are gender ideology, because it's being pushed on children, and abortion, because you're murdering children.
Right.
Like those are the two big issues right now, and they will be for years to come.
Yeah.
So the ones that everybody is in agreement with and like is on like
if ivory poaching was being pushed on us with the same ferocity as transgenderism, then maybe we'd get to respond to that, but it's not. And it's also not as big of an issue. I understand that as well.
I was going to say,
but my point is, even though there's a hierarchy of different sins, it doesn't mean people can't call out the lesser sins and devote their life to that as well. I mean, I spend a lot of time speaking out against pornography. Abortion is a graver sin than pornography, all things being equal.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But so that's the other thing. Like that's also kind of a gaslighting tactic where someone says to you, like, why are you so obsessed with this issue? Are you kidding me? It's because y'all are pushing it on me and my children. So screw you. I'm not going to give into your gaslighting. This stuff's insane and it needs to be responded to. Yeah. I didn't get to the questions and I'd like to do that if that's okay.
Yeah, we should do that. And then do you want to do the article?
Yeah, I do. We're going to get to a Aquinas article after this. We got some questions that came in from our local supporters. Dim Bryant says, is pineapple an acceptable topping on pizza? I would say absolutely
not.
Really? Why not?
No, absolutely not. It's bad. It tastes yucky.
Okay, I like it. But what I think should be on every pizza is anchovies. I love anchovies.
I want to tell.
Have you ever had anchovies?
No, actually, I haven't.
Well, it's really good. People don't like it, but my dad used to make pizza sometime. Every Friday night, my dad would make pizza for our family. He'd make a ham and pineapple and one with anchovies. I just love anchovies so much.
My dad used to make biscuits and gravy almost every weekend, and so I have a love for biscuits and gravy.
That's nice.
Hi, Dad. I love you.
Dan says, do you plan to retire pints and do something completely different? Yeah, every single day I make that plan and then don't follow through with it. Let's see, what else we got? Escort. What are you laughing at? You seeing
it sounds, when you said bat and it sounded, and then said, let's see something else. It sounded like you saw a question and then like immediately like, well, not that one.
Yeah, here's why. I actually went through and I put a thumbs up on the ones I wanted to answer because I read them ahead of time. That is exactly what happened. And that's probably why it sounded funny.
Just funny that
yeah. So Escort the Warrior says, if you could interview any living person, who would it be? Pope Francis. Totally. Yep. Christian says, you've often referred to having a challenging relationship with some of your children. I have as well. What have you learned about how to heal past wounds with a child who was raised by a much less wise version of yourself? All right, so just to kind of couch this in my own language, I would say that there are certain children, and I think every parent would concede this, every parent of more than one child, that you have certain children that you love, you respect, you treasure, you would die for, but they rub you the wrong way. And so trying to figure out why that's the case. I think in my own life, a lot of it had to do with the sort of ideals I had for my family. And those ideals were idols. They were ways I thought my family should pray, how our family should look, how our family should dress, how our family should be seen. And so my frustration with different children often was a reflection of my own immaturity. And what I'm finding is as I'm growing and I'm sort of just like not, I don't know how to say this in a way that won't sound kind of new agey, but like the less I hate myself, the more gentle and free I am to love my children. And I think what often happens is what bugs you in other people is what you see and can't reconcile in yourself. And I understand that there are things in our lives that should be hated, as it were. Like there should be behaviors that we should seek diligently and manfully to uproot, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know, like, I don't know, let's just kind of think of an example. This isn't my example, but I could see this being somebody's. You know, suppose you grew up as a scrawny little kid and everybody made fun of you because you were scrawny and you hated that about yourself. And then you finally got a bit bigger but there's still this part of you that just hates that little kid, as it were. And then maybe you have a son or a daughter and they resemble that. And what you're finding frustrating in them is something you're actually not able to love and reconcile in yourself. So personally, as I've kind of grown and I continue to grow, I've found that like reconciling those parts of myself have made me more gentle and patient with my children. Yeah. Ruth, and by the way, all that I just said there, young Matt Fradd, not yet married, would have nodded sagely to, thought he understood, and not understood it at all. Ruth Bear says, why is your daughter named Chiara Luce? Do you have a family devotion to her? So this is a true story. My wife was pregnant when I started working at Catholic Answers in San Diego. And I really liked the name Mary. My wife didn't, because she said she didn't think she'd be giving birth to a grandma and therefore didn't like that name. I reject that argument of hers and think it's spurious. I think Mary is a gorgeous name. And but anyway, my wife wasn't a big fan of it. She was open to it, not a big fan of it. And then one day I'm working at my desk and Carl Keating, who was the founder and at the time CEO, or what do you say, just head grand poobah?
Don't they have a president? If they had a CEO, they'd be incorporated.
All right, maybe they're not a CEO. But the fella who runs Catholic Answers and founded it, Carl Keating, came to my door and we were chatting. He asked how my wife was. And I said, we're going to have a daughter. He said, what are you thinking of naming her? And I said, I don't know, like Mary's one name or Chiara. And he went, I like Chiara. You should choose Chiara. I went, done. So that's what my wife and I agreed to. We'd call her Chiara. And obviously thinking of the first blessed of Generation X, I believe, was Chiara Luce. Luce was her nickname. I think Chiara Badano, but she was named Luce as a nickname. So my wife had to get put under for the C-section. And so when the time came around to naming her, I just named her Chiara Luce. Chiara Luce Fradd. We didn't agree to that. I just chose it. And my wife woke up.
I'm sorry. Chiara was on anesthetic and you like named the baby without consulting her?
100%. She knew it was going to be Chiara, but we had talked about like Chiara Rose or something like that. And I'm like, I like Luce more. So while she was under anesthetic, I took my opportunity and I named her Chiara Luce. I should have named her Mary.
That's the most Sigma male thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know what Sigma male means, but can you say in one sentence what Sigma male means?
It is the alpha male who does not exist inside the traditional hierarchy.
You crushed that one sentence explanation. That was excellent. Anyway, but yeah, my wife woke up and I went, "Here's your baby, Kiara Luce." But she loved it. She thought it was fun. So that's why her name's
so
Kiara
funny.
Luce. And she is the most beautiful girl in the world. It's a weird feeling as a parent. Sometimes I want someone to hurt my daughter just so I can kill them.
That's going to go on Pints Bingo. You've said it enough now where
Have
I'm putting
I?
it on the bingo card.
It's a weird feeling because obviously you don't
You
want
have
anything to
said
happen to
that
your sweet
multiple
daughter.
times.
But sometimes I want someone to slight her so I can throw them into a garbage can. I don't know. Harry Clune says, will you ever play the video game Crusader King 3 on YouTube or locals? Don't know what it is. What is it, Thursday?
Crusader King 3 is a extremely complicated video game.
Which you
that
would
is
never.
board game. Yeah, you.
Yeah, I'd die.
So it's like it's
Is it as complicated as Tetris, though? Is it
how complicated is it? No. So like imagine a board game, but it's so complex that it's not possible to play it physically. It's only possible to play it with a computer, and that's Crusader Kings 3. The answer to that is no. Matt will not be playing that.
We could play it
because
just
Matt
so you could make fun of me.
I have no idea how to play it. I have not figured it out. Like Matt would throw my computer through a wall, and all of the videos are on my computer. So
we haven't. Fair enough. Okay, we have another question here, and this comes from Kyle Whittington, who is honestly one of the coolest guys in the world.
I love him.
Yeah, he sent me a text, I'm just seeing it now, and I wanted to mention it. He says, "Hey Matt, Derek mentioned you were willing to help out with advertising for the whiskey night on June 1st. So there will be a whiskey night on June 1st here at Chesterton Cigars. I'm part owner of the cigar lounge in town. Would you be willing to spread the word? Yes. June 1st, come down to Steubenville. I'll be there drinking whiskey, smoking cigars. Kyle will be there. We'll have a bunch of fun. June 1st. Just check out Chesterton Cigars in Steubenville. Give us a call. Just look us up on Google Maps. Give us a call just to confirm any details you have. But
somebody just gave us $20.
Shut up. Thank you.
20 Australian dollars.
Okay, so $4. Thank you.
Is that how bad it is?
I'm just joking.
I was not sure.
They're
how
so
bad
kind of them. All right, what do they say?
Gentlemen, glad I discovered this channel. I believe it is no coincidence. Subbed and liked, obviously. Thank you to God Most High. Definitely will tune in from now on. Keep it up. Here is more to growth.
That is so kind.
Ladies and gents.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, also, I want to ask the audience this question.
Yeah.
This is something we could take suggestions. Matt and I are doing these pretty much every week now. And they don't have a name. They're just the solo streams.
The solo episodes.
Which is really funny because they're not solo and they're not episodes. So
what should we call them?
What should we call these?
Come up with a name below.
Yes.
And we'll
comment below and we will pin the one we pick.
We'll pin the one we pick.
Yeah. Oh, and if you're not maybe we'll send you stuff. Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thursday will buy it. Here's the question from Kyle Whittington. He says, you've been tasked with selecting a debate team. Okay, Kyle, first of all, you need to make a card game to grow your channel and because you're very good at coming up with questions like this. You've been tasked with selecting a debate team of 5 living people to defend the existence of God. Who are you selecting for this team?
Okay. Do we have a time period? Is it living?
No, he said living.
Oh.
Okay, so I would say, and then you can chime in if you think of anybody, and I'm just going off the top of my head, but William Lane Craig, Trent Horn, Ed Fazer, Alex Pruce.
Yeah, you did. You said 4, right?
He said 5.
Oh, 5?
Jimmy Aiken. That's just
All right,
without putting a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, obviously. Peter Kraft.
Peter Kraft I wouldn't choose. Peter Kraft is brilliant, but I don't think he's good on the existence of God.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think
even if he is, I can't see him in a debate.
So it's a team. So my thought is that they don't all have to debate.
So he just whispers into Trent's ear.
So they don't all have to debate.
No, I don't think Trent. No, I don't think Kraft is good on this. I don't. Jimmy, can you imagine Jimmy, Ed Fazer, Trent Horn? Who else do I say? Alex Pruss. I don't know if he'd be a good debater either, honestly, but he's as brilliant as the rest of the 4 put together. And William Lane Craig. Oh my gosh.
I'd take Craig.
That would put the fear of God in an atheist. That's right.
I'd take Craig, Fazer, Hahn, Pruss, Kraft, and I guess I have one more.
Alex Plato, maybe?
Oh,
He'd be
yeah,
fun.
because I really think that like Plato, you need somebody on the Franciscan arguments, I think. And I think Plato's the guy to put it on.
We have Tom Ward coming in soon.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, who's a philosopher, and he's written a book on...
May 16th.
Yeah. On
Actually,
Scotus's-
sorry. Tom Ward will be probably last week of May.
Okay. I got a busy week. I got a busy month coming up. I'm going to Ukraine on the 30th. What?
2 more super chats.
Oh, lovely. We'll keep talking and drinking Yuengling as long as you send super chats.
So if you keep sending us money, we will keep talking to you.
Yeah, we've nearly paid for the Yuengling at this point.
Oh, we've more than paid for the Yuengling because one of them is for $50.
Australian?
No.
Yes. Wow, it's very kind.
So the first one actually is $10.
Just before you get to that, I was just in the middle of saying,
sorry.
I'm going to Ukraine on the 30th for 10 days with Father Jason. We're going to be visiting orphanages, providing aid, trying to reinstall windows into a bishop's blown out building. And so stay tuned. I plan on doing a lot of streams over at mattfradd.locals.com, probably every day while we are in. We're going to go into Budapest, take a train into Ukraine. That rhymed. We're going to go to different cities around there, and so I'll be sharing a lot of videos, especially over at mattfradd.locals.com. And I will say this too. So the way Locals works, you don't actually have to pay me to see a lot of the content that I put up there. You can, and then you can comment and things like that. But the videos that I'll be posting while I'm in Ukraine, I'll make sure they're for everybody. So just go sign up to Locals like you would sign up on Twitter. You know, you can sign up to Twitter in order to interact, but you don't actually have to pay. You can do the same thing over on Locals, mattfradd.locals.com. Also, in regards to Locals, this Thursday night, I'm going to be interviewing Dennis Prager. I don't know how this is going to go because I need to challenge him on the porn question because of what he said, which really bothered me. So it's going to be a Locals-only stream. He'll be in studio, we'll be smoking cigars, having a chat. If you want to watch that, you have to support us over at mattfradd.locals.com. That obviously supports all of the work that we do here. It's not just me and Thursday. We have other people that work for us who we pay. And it helps us go from good to great. mattfradd.locals.com.
So we got 1 for 10 from Coffee and David with no note. Thank you, Coffee and David.
Stop it.
We got 1 from 50.
Golly.
1 for 50 from William Roundy. It says, y'all were a key role in my conversion, and thanks be to God. I'm now
Glory to
discerning the
Jesus
priesthood.
Christ. Wow.
Pray for me, please. Keep up the good work.
God bless you, friend.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
pray for you for sure. And then he said 20 more because you mentioned my super chat. Okay. I mean,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I just thought of a hilarious name for the streams,
What is it?
but I'll have to tell you off camera.
Okay.
'Cause it's we can't use it.
All right. I look forward to that. All right, so let's move on from the ask questions. So for those local supporters who sent questions in, thank you. I hope I didn't disappoint those I
goodness.
didn't get to. What? There's more super chats?
Somebody sent $2.
Yeah.
That's not gonna die in Ukraine. Calm down.
Is that what they said?
That's not the words they used.
I
They
would
said
love-
Ukraine ?
I'd be
It's
okay
been
dying
real.
in Ukraine. You know how much cooler dying in Ukraine while serving orphans would be to dying of colon cancer when I'm 62? It'd be so much better. If I had to die in America, I'd want to die in a fun way, like being backed over by a Dunkin' Donuts truck. Something that people could talk about for years.
So who in Steubenville is the host of Pints?
Honestly, if I had to pick a host for Pints with Aquinas who lived in Steubenville, I'm not saying this person would take the job. It would probably be Matt Bruninger.
Oh, absolutely.
But Matt Bruninger would have to, I don't know, like sometimes I
think he would
interview him
take
and
it.
he's got his therapist voice on and he's very calm. He needs to be Matt Bruninger. See, Matt Bruninger, he's got an amazing story. He went through Alcoholics Anonymous a long time ago. He doesn't drink alcohol.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's public. He's an amazing fella. He doesn't drink, but whenever you meet him, it's like he's got a bourbon in him. Like he's very like, hey, he's wild.
He's so
I love
fun.
him.
I love Matt Bruninger.
But when I interview him, he's a lot more kind of reserved and he'd have to get over that. And if he could do that, he would be amazing.
Somebody gave us $5 and said, it'd be awesome to have a beer night with some confessional Lutherans. We love beer
Sure.
and conversation would be awesome.
Yes, and I probably have more in common with you, confessional Lutheran, than I do with the lib Catholics. So, or maybe not, but it'd be love to chat with you anyway. All right. What else? We're going to look at something from Thomas Aquinas. So,
They're still coming.
what? More super chats? Stop it.
The J.M. Lou. Don't stop it. The The JM Lou 11 said, praise God for all the work you've done. What's your thoughts on the Eucharistic revival? Love the concept, but it seems as though it's quite hit or miss with implementation in many dioceses. This was one of the topics we almost talked about today, and I didn't.
I want to stay away from it
idea.
just because I ventured into it, but didn't see enough to kind of form a. I think whenever you get 3 people, whenever you get a committee to oversee something, it usually gets weird.
You know what a camel is?
What?
You know what a camel is?
What? Oh,
Peter Crave told you this joke.
A horse put together by a committee or something?
Horse by a committee, yeah.
Yeah. So I think really like if real Eucharistic revival is going to take place, it's going to take place from the laity. There are 2 changes I think that Novus Ordo churches could implement that would increase Eucharistic devotion. They're very simple, and I'd like to see them in every church across America.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I can?
Yeah.
One is going to be no in the hands.
Oh, well, I was going to say altar rail.
Altar rail,
Yeah.
which would require kneeling on the tongue.
Yeah, I think if you implemented that, yeah, even if you just implemented an altar rail without specifically saying you can't receive on the hands, even if you made that change, I think the vast majority of people would get the point, and it would just force them to realize what they're receiving.
Yeah.
We need to bring the altar rail back, and then second,
is it going to be ad orientem?
Crushed it. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Franciscan about this. I'd like to see them implement, because they're building a new chapel.
Are they really? About time. The spaceship is weird.
Yeah, I'd like to see this. It's funny. Part of me is nostalgic about the spaceship just because it's been there for so long, and
it's awful.
It's got that
anybody who has a problem with
musky, charismatic smell to it that I love. Actually,
yeah, I don't. It's not good. Anybody with a problem with that can at me on Twitter.
Father Dave. No, I would like to see that. I would like to see altar rail and ad orientem. I think that would that's the right direction. It seems to me, in my humble opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
$20.
Oh, come on.
William Roundy, when are we having more discussions on Bonaventure, patron saint of bowel disorders?
Yeah, did you know that?
I didn't. I've got one though.
So, well, there you go.
I'm not biased at all. He's my confirmation saint.
Yeah, Bonaventure is amazing. Genius. He died the same year as Thomas Aquinas. They both wrote hymns to the Blessed Sacrament. They disagreed on certain philosophical arguments for God's existence, but both champions, both doctors of the church. But what's funny is when you're in an argument with a Franciscan, and I mean this tongue-in-cheek, it's not meant to be serious, you would just say, well, Aquinas is the patron saint of universities, and Bonaventure is the patron saint of bowel disorders.
Have you read Bonaventure's prayer after? I know that.
And not just you, but the people at home. I have seen Bonaventure's prayer after communion. It's absolutely
glorious. Can I read
glorious.
the first line of it? Because
Yes.
it almost brought me to tears after Mass the other day. And somebody else sent us another chat.
Hey, Brett was watching.
Joseph of Cupertino.
Yeah.
This is actually a small part. I will tell people this. Joseph of Cupertino is a patron saint of people with stomach issues because he was cured of a stomach ulcer, a severe stomach ulcer at a young age by the Blessed Virgin.
Nice.
And I picked him as my confirmation saint before I was diagnosed with my digestive disorder.
Wow.
So he picked me. So thank you to St. Joseph of Cupertino, my confirmation saint. Yeah, this first line of this prayer after communion from Bonaventure, pierce, O most sweet Lord Jesus, my inmost soul with the most joyous and healthful wound of thy love. My gosh.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay, I think we have one more super chat here.
Yeah, we have another.
Joseph Clark, is that the one?
Yep.
He says, would you host a debate on liturgy, Novus Ordo versus Tridentine, not on validity, just authenticity?
Well, they're both authentic.
Yeah, that's his point, I think, right? And I wouldn't host a debate on that because I don't want to do any more to divide the church. I really don't.
This is not an issue the church should be divided on. The division should be if people are saying one is not allowed, they should be frowned upon. Like if somebody on either side is saying that the other side should be disallowed, they should be frowned upon. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm happy for the church to work this out internally, but it's not something I want to add fuel to the fire on, honestly. If I just had to be really honest, that's what I'd say. Oh my gosh, these people keep giving us money. Dylan, stop it. Thank you very much. I'm only joking, but my gosh, there's more.
Oh, they're still coming.
Do you think this is how we get super chats, by telling them not to send them?
Stop sending us money.
I have a confirmation interview with my parish priest at 4:15 today. What should I say when he asks me to explain the theology of the sacrament? Oh, I don't know. That it is a deeper
sacrament?
infusing of the Holy Spirit.
The Baltimore Catechism says, a sacrament is an outward sign instituted by Christ that gives grace to the soul.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. Helly, my 8th grade religious ed teacher.
William Roundy says, it's very Franciscan, just going to say. Also, Bonaventure's prayer after communion is incredible. I pray every Sunday. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the Franciscans. All right.
Is this still happening?
Are we good now? Can we stop,
We're going
please?
to try.
All right.
I don't think it's going to work.
So I want to take a look at this article, Summa Theologiae, Secunda Secundae, question 49. We're going to be talking about memory. Now, I don't want to read through the...
It didn't work.
We'll get to it after.
We'll take your chats after. Keep sending them. We'll get to all of the chats. If you send us money, we'll read
It's like
your
people
chat.
on YouTube are just kind of defiant. And so maybe that's why. So if you can scroll down to the main response, Thomas Aquinas wants to give us 4 ways to remember things. I don't think that's the one.
It's the one you sent me. Question 49 is the one you sent me. I'll check it in Slack again.
We'll go up the top because maybe...
Hold on. Question 49. And in Slack, you sent
Gee,
me
this is embarrassing.
question 49.
Yes, I'm not... I'm not doubting I sent you the wrong link. I'm just a bit...
Are you looking for...
Crikey, that's bright. Go to 2, what's that? Understanding. No, that's right. I must have seen the wrong one, sorry. Give us a second, guys. Okay, found it.
What is it?
So it's from 49.
Prologue, maybe?
No, it's from the Secunda Secundae, question 49, article 1.
Well, that's where we were.
Well, gee whiz. Well, I'm going to read through it anyway, okay?
All right.
There are 4 things. So if you want to get better at memorizing things, this is really good.
Should we preface this?
I will.
Or should we do it after?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
There are 4 things whereby a man perfects his memory. All right, so here are the 4 things you can do if you want to get better at memorizing things. First, when a man wishes to remember a thing, he should take some suitable yet somewhat unwanted illustration of it. And by unwanted, it's not UNWANTED, it's UNWONTED, which I think means like strange. I think that's what that means. Okay, strange illustration of it. I'm going to say strange. Since the strange strikes us more and so makes a greater and stronger impression on the mind. And this explains why we remember better what we saw when we were children. Now, reason for the necessity of finding these illustrations or images is that simple and spiritual impressions easily slip from the mind unless they be tied, as it were, to some corporal image, because human knowledge has a greater hold on sensible objects. For this reason, memory is assigned to the sensitive part of the body. All right, that's brilliant. Everything going okay over there? You look confused.
What part? Where?
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
You're single. So
this is the first thing, right? It's like an unwanted image helps you remember things, and this is exactly right. I actually had an interview recently with Kevin Vost. I say recently, it was about a year ago. And Kevin Vost has recently gone on to his eternal reward. He died last week, and so may the Lord bless him and speedily bring him into paradise. All of my interactions with him were really cool. Kevin was a bodybuilder his entire life. Like, not his entire life, but as he became a young man. Really bulky dude. We actually have a pull-up bar here in the office, and he showed all of us up. Really smart, really gentle, really sincere. He's written some excellent books on the memory and memory palaces in which he implements Aquinas' teachings. We're going to put a link in the description below to him helping me understand the 10 Commandments by using 10 unwanted images. So check that out if you want a kind of a deeper understanding of what this might look like. But basically, if you're trying to understand something, do that. Think of something unwanted. Here's an example. Let's say you always forget where you put your keys. Well, maybe find a hook and start putting them on them. But another thing you could do is when you put your keys down, imagine them exploding. Or you can get even more unwanted. Imagine them turning into blood and like running down the counter. If you do something like that, that's that bizarre, you're going to remember where you put your keys. And so that was his point. Like when we were children, we remember things so much better than we do today because when we were children, the things that we would encounter all seemed strange, right? We were filled with wonder at the things that we were seeing. Whereas today, sometimes we don't even see the things that we're looking at. But again, if you want to understand how this can be useful in catechesis or remembering the faith, well, here's one example. Like you can use an acronym pale gas. I got this from Taylor Marshall. Pale gas. P-A-L-E-G-A-S. And that is an acronym for the 7 deadly sins. So you think pride, avarice, lust, envy, etc., etc. And so that's one way to do it. Like, I don't know what pale gas is, but it sounds disgusting, and that is an unwanted image that will help you remember. Here's a second way you can be better at remembering things. Aquinas says, whatever a man wishes to retain in his memory, he must carefully consider and set in order so that he may pass easily from one memory to another. Hence, the philosopher says, sometimes a place brings back memories back to us, the reason being that we pass quickly from the one to the other. That's a really good point. Like, if I was to say to you, imagine the house that you grew up in, or imagine your office where you might not be currently, or if you are in your office, imagine a coffee shop or a friend's house. You could imagine all of those rooms as you kind of walk through them all. And so what you can do in these memory palaces, and again, you're going to have to watch that link below in order to fully understand this, is you put an image in each room as you walk through one room to the next, and that kind of helps. So, for example, we did the 10 Commandments with Dr. Kevin Vost. And so imagine this. You walk up to a house, and on the mat, I want to just make sure I'm getting this right because it would be really embarrassing. Okay, so on the mat, right, you might have, the mat starts speaking to you and its lips are moving, and that might represent, I am the Lord your God, you shall not take the Lord God's name in vain or something like that. And then you walk into the room and you hear like a gigantic crash, and that gigantic crash represents the breaking of graven images, and so that reminds you of thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images. And then you might turn around and look out one of the side windows and see a beautiful sunrise. And that reminds you of, okay, I'm getting these wrong. I knew I was going to get them wrong. But you get the point. Walking through.
It's in the video.
Yeah, just watch the bloody video. I found that super helpful in doing that. And I've often wondered, how are people so good at remembering all of these things? Even say something like the ecumenical councils. How do people remember these in order? How do they remember these with years? Well, one way to do it is through these memory palaces that Dr. Kevin Vost talks about. He says, thirdly, we must be anxious and earnest about the things we wish to remember, because the more a thing is impressed on the mind, the less it's liable to slip out of it. Wherefore Tully says in his rhetoric that anxiety preserves the figures of images entire. So we have to be serious about it. I remember I was going through this phase where I was really trying to understand the scriptures and trying to memorize them. And what I would do is, like, for example, like John 10:10, our Lord says, I've come that you may have life and life to the full, for example. And so I remember that because 10 out of 10 sounds like a life lived to the full. And so I'd remember those little things, and they would help me. And then people would say to me, I don't know how you're understanding so much scripture. I could never memorize it. And I was like, you totally can. You haven't tried. Like, so I said to them, try to forget that John 10:10 means I've come that you may have life and have it to the full. Like, try. Just, what is it? What's that verse? Try to forget it. And then it's kind of hard to forget it. But so Aquinas is saying, like, you actually have to set aside a time to try to memorize it. So it's not just going to happen automatically, even when you're using unwanted images. Fourthly, we should often reflect on the things we wish to remember. Hence, the philosopher says that reflection preserves memories because, as he remarks, custom is a second nature. Wherefore, when we reflect on a thing frequently, we quickly call to mind through passing from one thing to another by a kind of natural order. And this is, so not only should we be anxious to learn the thing, but once we've learnt it, we shouldn't forget it altogether. We should keep revisiting it in our memory if we wish to retain it in our minds. And I remember when I used to work at Catholic Answers being so shocked at how good Tim Staples and Jimmy Aiken were, and Trent Horn for that matter, at responding to questions like from 360, right? Like every angle they would get questions on indulgences or Mary or the church's social teaching or what have you. And they were very good at responding to them. And they were saying to me that they have to come in weekly to be on the show because it kind of trains the muscles. You know, the more you give the same answer to somebody, the more likely you are to retain that answer. That's why I've got a lot of respect for people who, focus on one topic. people sometimes get frustrated with Dr. William Lane Craig. Not many people, but I mean, some atheists have said he just says the same thing in every debate. Or when somebody asks a question, he's got like this answer that he gives and he knows that every word. I think Jason Everett's a bit like that as well. But I don't think that's a negative thing. I think these people have crafted their answers and they're trying to say it as helpfully as possible and they're able to do it. And because they're focusing on this one thing and they keep coming back to it, they're able to be very effective in communicating what they want to communicate. So again, those 4 things you can do to strengthen your memory is consider some unwanted image, some strange image associated with the thing you want to remember. The second thing was setting it in order. So if you have a series of things you want to remember, set them in order. I sometimes do this with a song. So like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts and Romans and Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, Thessalonians, Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, Peter, John, Jude, Revelation. That's something you could do.
That was impressive. Can you do the U.S. president's one?
No, I couldn't. But I can do like Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Tobit, Judith, Esther, and Job. Ugh. Anyway, so like I would just put a song together and that would really help me. Because it is weird. You listen to a song you haven't heard in 50 years. No, 10 years. And you're surprised that you can remember all the lyrics. Thirdly, be anxious to actually learn it. And then fourthly and finally, revisit that thing so that it won't slip from your memory. And that's what Thomas Aquinas has to say.
We have more chats.
Ah, come on. These people suck.
Matt doesn't think that.
I don't think that. That was a joke.
Give us chats and we will stay live.
It's not a funny joke.
If you want to have a good time, keep giving us chats and see how long Matt will stay live just reading super chats.
Okay, so further cap, is this the dude?
No, you need to start with Kyle.
Where's Kyle?
Oh, no, wait. William Roundy at $10 is where you need to start.
I can't even see him. They're so far back. Feel free to read it if you see it there.
William Roundy says, you said stop sending and it made me want to send you money. Kyle said...
Why? So Kyle just sent us $23.67.
Yeah, it's such an exact amount.
It's like that's as much as he can afford this month before his wife slaps him. Thank you. It's very kind of you. And it's a bit annoying, but thanks. Charles says, keep up the great work. $10. What is A? Is that Australia?
Yeah, 10 Aussie dollars.
Thank you so much. Further Cap says, hello, Matt. I converted to Catholicism in no small part thanks to your witness. I am now a candidate with the Capuchin Franciscan Friars. Your thoughtfulness continues to inspire me. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I discern with the Capuchins in Australia for a while, actually. So God bless you and all the best. And make sure once you put that habit on, it doesn't come off. Also get one of the cool hat things that they wear and grow your beard out. The end. 87 Web something says, now that you're a real American, when are you getting an AR-15? See, asking when are you getting an AR-15 is like saying...
Don't answer that.
Yeah.
Don't tell the government. Come in a little. Can you come in a little? Thank you.
Yeah, right. Good. All right. I think we should wrap up now.
Yep. Nobody's sending chats. I'm clicking the off button. Bye.
Bye.